Hey, what's up, GameLeapers? This is Iggs, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about 10 champions and or items that are really busted at the moment, and these are probably going to get nerfed in 13.13, and these notes will probably be released in the next couple of days by the Riot Balance team. So we'll have to see if this prophecy is actually true. I think it will be. I think these champions have been so good for so long, and a change up in terms of the meta, well, I think it's kind of deserved at this point because we've seen these champs for pretty much this entire season 13, and also in previous seasons as well. They just always seem to be really OP. So I'm kind of like rooting for, you know, some like big changes coming in or some other champions getting buffed and brought up to this OP level. And if you do want to improve, guys, like I've heard a lot recently, like I'm trying to bait you guys to go to the website and I don't know, like buy the course or whatever. Like I'm really not. What I'm about is actually helping you out. And these videos, yes, they might tell you like what champions are OP and stuff, but my dad could probably go on one of these sites and understand what's OP, yeah? And I might give a few tips, of course, and like the actual builds and some maybe nuances and intricacies that you should know about if you're going to play one of these champions or abuse one of these items. But the important thing here is that you're not learning how to play the game or the role you're in, which is always the most important thing. Difference between, let's just say, a challenger Shaco to a silver Shaco is probably just going to be like mostly macro. Yes, there might be some micro, and that's what we'll teach you on the website, but we will teach you how to actually play at 1500 LP. Our videos are made by the best challenger players and coaches around the world, and we upload daily content for our subscribers. So if you actually want people who care about you and your improvement and will help you get there, we're not just going to give you a bunch of theory that means nothing, which is what a lot of people do. I will actually give you real examples, practical examples from games. You even have some coaching sessions with people in Challenger from across every single elo, so everyone is accounted for. So check out the GameLeap website, get signed up for exclusive access to a library of content, links in the description and comment section. And yeah, let's get into the fast food. So coming in at number 10, we have Kai'Sa, but this is kind of like a champion and item combination. For those of you playing attack damage Kai'Sa with Ginsu's, I mean, there's a bit of AP in there, don't get me wrong, because Kai'Sa, of course, you do have a bit of AP in your kit through your passive especially, but the actual best build for Kai'Sa, funnily enough, in higher reloads at the moment is going Hail of Blades with a static Shiv Rush and then into Nash's Tooth. Nash's Tooth, the ability haste that got put into it a couple of patches ago, is really useful, and a static Shiv Rush because it's giving you more damage the earlier you buy it in a game now. This really helps. Kai'Sa does have wave clear, of course, with OQ. She's actually a very good wave clear champion, but the reason you're getting static Shiv is because, well, not only the buff, of course, but also just in terms of damage and movement speed and kite ability, if you like. This also does well in terms of contributing to your upgrades, so the attack damage and the attack speed, of course. And when you get Nash's Tooth, it is kind of off chops. Like the attack speed and the damage you will be dealing, your DPS is actually insane. And if you just look at this rune page for me, when you go Hail of Blades here, for this AP setup, players in high reloads in 130 matches have over a 65% win rate. And in over 120 matches with Shiv and with Nash's Tooth, your boot should pretty much always be Berserker's Grease, they have over a 74% win rate. So this kind of like champion and item combination could easily be higher up on this countdown, but that is starting off the top 10 Kai'Sa with Static Shiv, and I'm probably saying here that Static Shiv is going to get nerfed because it is very prolific at the moment. Kai'Sa, I think, is in a fine position. Now moving on, we're staying in the bot lane here, but this is Rel, and it's just Rel. There's no real like item combination here because Rel with anything is going to succeed. Rel with a Death Cap Rush, you're still going to pop off. The changes that came into Rel recently, like kind of the upgraded Rel, I'd say, have made her super busted. We don't even need to talk about like exactly what the changes were. You guys can check the stats for me. Win rates of over 55% in most elos. Even in lower elos where it might be a little bit harder to pull this champion off, she still is an S+ tier champion. So that's why she's here as well. I'm probably expecting some sort of like Rel nerfs, a bit more tuning down, I guess, to make her a bit more even with everyone else. All the other option Riot have is to buff like the other 150 so champions to bring them up to these guys' level. But yeah, Rel is number 9. Now moving on into the top lane, we have Fiora here. Now guys, if you're playing Fiora with Trinity Force because the enemy team is so squishy and you're snowballing super hard, like you've killed the enemy laner a bunch of times in the first like what, like 6, 7, 8 levels, you can go Trinity Force instead of going Divine Sundra. You can also have options where you go Stridebreaker into lots of range, so you might be versing like a Teemo top, let's say, in a Kindred jungle. The bot lane is double range. Having Stridebreaker gives you the gap closing potential, of course, because of the slow. So if you can Q in and use the Stridebreaker active, those ranged champions are going to be slowed and you'll be able to stick to them. That's really important, and probably against those compositions, you want to run Ghost as well. So because of all the mythics Fiora has, even Gore Drinker into very close range teams as possible, this champion is really frothing life, and that's been the case for like seasons now. Even though Fiora has been nerfed multiple times in the last 2 to 3 seasons, she's still nutty. So Fiora is number 8. Now moving to number 7 on the countdown, one of the more interesting kind of like technologies, I guess, that came out recently in League, and I mentioned this in one of our recent videos, is going LeBlanc. Now you guys might be like, but LeBlanc hasn't really been buffed at all in the last couple of patches. Yes, she hasn't. Well, she got buffed like not so long ago. But the point here is that there there must be something else making LeBlanc OP. You guys who have watched our recent videos will know, and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss our future videos, you guys will know who have watched those videos that Static Shiv Rush LeBlanc is actually one of the most OP setups in the game right now. Like I was looking like high elo win rates and I saw LeBlanc and I was like, wait, what? No way. Like she's normally around like 47, 48%. She's always banned a lot, but this time it's for real. Like this champ is legit OP because of Static Shiv, and that's what I found out. Static Shiv not only amazing for the wave clear because LeBlanc's wave clear is so trash, even though they're trying to like give her a bit back as far as like, you know, your Q, giving you mana refund and stuff and resetting the cooldown a little bit. If you last hit a minion, your W as well, like I can't remember if they did something to the actual mana cost that it has attached to it because it's like your only real form of good wave clear, but it's also the only form of gap closing and it really just like makes or breaks LeBlanc. So if you're using it for wave clear, you probably can't use it then to actually play LeBlanc and kill enemy champions. Like that's why we want to play League of Legends, right? To interact with the enemy champions, but because there are so many minions in front of you, you have to clear them with your distortion. So hopefully all that makes sense. That's why Static Shiv, well, that's just where it comes in because it helps you with the wave clear so you can save your distortion to go nuts against the enemy mid laner. So LeBlanc is here, guys, because of Shiv. Definitely think about playing her, but you probably want to be playing her with Fleet Footwork as your keystone, okay? That's really important as well. Please do not go electrocute, so give this a shot in your games. And number 6, this is Rengar. I don't think anyone can really like contest this, guys. I think Rengar needs to be nerfed. I think the champion is so unbelievably busted. Yes, I know you have Duskblade and Rengar mains. You might hate me for saying this because it does take a bit of skill to learn this guy for sure. I think he's one of the hardest champions in the game, and respect to all of you out there who can play this guy like Scrub Noob. But the point I'm making here is that his kit innately is just so damn good. The damage you deal with your empowered Q, when you go in as well and stack your passive back up, it's like you have your empowered W straight away. He's so hard to kill, deals so much damage, and the win rates as well in most elos speak for themselves too. I think Rengar needs a little bit of nerfing in order to bring him back in line with everything else. He's also banned a lot, which I think goes to show that some people do share this opinion too. And you guys can let me know in the comment section about any of these champions or even items. What do you think Riot needs to nerf in 13-12 to make the game a bit more fun, a bit more enjoyable? Now moving into the top 5. First of all, we have Rek'Sai. Now Rek'Sai has really come about because of the buffs in 13-11 and also the Stride Breaker buffs as well. 60 attack damage on a bruiser item, that is actual cracked. And when you're playing one of these like assassins, because Rek'Sai before you were going Prowler's Claw, right, before they changed it, now you're going Stride Breaker because it gives you 60 AD, the same as the old Prowlers. That's why it's so cracked. And because, kind of like I was saying for Fiora, when you go in and use the active on Stride Breaker on Rek'Sai, even if they flash out, you don't have to flash anymore. Like that's pretty much it, especially in like mid to late game as Rek'Sai. If you don't have flash, you're not a champion. And if you're versing something like an Ezreal or like a kiting AD carry, especially with like appealing support, it feels impossible to play her in the mid to late game. Stride Breaker gives you the stickiness now and a very good chance to stay on that target. So Stride Breaker Rek'Sai is number 5. And again, insane win rates on this champion and the item. I even think their Stride Breaker might get semi-reverted in terms of the attack damage, bring it back down to like 55 maybe, and see what the stats say. Now coming in at number 4, this is Draven. Now Draven, I don't think really he needs nerfs himself, but it's really just the fact that Trinity Force is just completely busted. And I haven't really mentioned Trinity Force so far in this video, maybe apart from like Fiora if you're really snowballing, right? But Trinity Force on Draven is just utterly stupid. Like this champion, I don't think it has any real counters at the moment during the laning phase, unless maybe you're picking something like Karthus into it. But apart from that, like Draven is head and shoulders above everybody else in the bot lane. There is no AD carry that scares this guy. So by picking him, you pretty much have a free laning phase. And because Triforce is so nutty, you pick Triforce into like Collector and you one-shot everyone, and you're unkillable as well because the 3-fold strike passive now is 5 seconds. So you have the kite for so much longer. So Draven is number 4. So I think the balance team here needs to give a bit of a jab to Triforce and maybe even Draven himself, but not too much, just a little bit, because he is a bit of skill expression, a bit like Rengar, but Rengar is just like Draven on steroids. Anyway, number 3, guys, kind of the same reason here for Kindred being number 3. I think the champion is good, yeah. If we think about her other items, you know, if you're not going Trinity Force, if you're going like Gale Force, Rapid Fire Cannon, these got nerfed right in this patch. So those win rates aren't actually that great, but again, it's just like the Trinity Force pairing with these ranged champions. The kite is insane, the damage is insane because they increase the damage and attack speed, right, by 5. And when we talk about Draven, you know, attack damage is so important. Kindred, attack speed is so important. So it's crazy good on these two champions. That's why Draven's number 4, and that's why Kindred is number 3. Now moving into the top 2, who do you think these guys are going to be? Number 2, this is the top laner. We talked about Fiora earlier, and I've talked about this champion for so long now, this being Jax. So this purple hockey stick abuser, this champion legit, like, I don't know what right we're thinking giving him like 2 auto attacks to proc your empowered auto attack. Like, why not just change it back to 3? I think that would actually just help the champion and every top laner out playing against him, because it's so broken. You hit level 6, and because you're maxing your W, right? Because you can get 1 off like every, I don't know how many seconds it is, but it just feels really hard to play against him, right? He gets so many of these off, and even if his laning phase is a little bit weaker, the changes that came in like not so long ago, they did nerf his early game, but his mid to late game is as good, if not better, and because of the extra AP ratio in your E, you can even build stuff late game like Zhonya's and whatever to really make use of this. So Jax, I don't really want to talk about it for that much longer, because I've talked pretty much about Jax every time I talk about top laners for the last like 2 to 3 years, so I'm begging the balance team to make it a bit more interesting here and give the Grandmaster at arms. Well, bring it back to like Master, not a Grandmaster. So the only champion left to talk about here, guys, and this isn't really like an item combination, and also for Jax you have Trinity Force as well if you're really snowballing. But yeah, number 1, this isn't really an item thing. This is just about the champion being innately broken, and the number 1 is Neeko. I think this champion just needs nerf. Other mid laners that you might want to throw in here could be something like Annie potentially. Maybe there are some others out there, but Neeko, a bit like Draven as the AD carry, Neeko in the mid lane is just head and shoulders, cream of the crop, the nuts, the best mid laner in the game, and probably the best champion in the game as well. Her win rates across every single elo are so insane, and that's because she's just like so easy to play and make work, I think. Yes, you might have a few skill shots, but once you get your ultimate, pair this with Rocket Belt, it's so easy to play. It's almost as easy as just like playing something like Addy, but you're just a more innately broken champion. So I'm fully expecting Neeko nerfs in 13-13, along with the rest of the champions, guys, and items that we've mentioned in this video. Please let us know in the comments section your thoughts, what needs to be nerfed right now, and until tomorrow's upload, this has been Code Cheeks. Peace.